Let's go to Patricia in East Rochester. Hi, Patricia.
Hello. In the light of the decision that the Supreme Court just passed in the Arizona illegal immigrant law, I hold out little hope for the positive outcome of the repealed health care bill. Now, what plan does the Republican Party have to stop the runaway train that's running towards socialism that's openly being touted by the current administration? And how can you get the word out that the Constitution is more than a document? It's the foundation of the American way of life that was known by our fathers and their fathers.
Yeah, wow. We need to get you up here and let you give that statement on the floor of the House of Representatives, because our colleagues on the Democrat side of the aisle need to hear that. You're exactly right. The Constitution is more than a document. You can read the Constitution of the United States in about 20 minutes. It's longer than the breaks between commercials on most TV shows. You can read it in that period of time. And I am extremely concerned with a president that continues to bypass and ignore Congress and writes policy and implements policy based on executive order rather than listening and adhering to the voice of the American people like the Constitution requires him to do. I can tell you that there are moves to hold the president accountable, and those things are underway. It is a long process. You've just seen one of them here very recently with what's going on in the Attorney General's office. You also see what happened recently with the Supreme Court affirming and upholding the most important aspect of Arizona's immigration law. So we are beginning to see movement on holding this president accountable, but the best way to hold the president accountable is for you to show up at the polls in November and let your voice be heard. That's your right. You're in charge. The Constitution put the American people in charge of our system of government. So in November, we get to tell the president what we think of his job performance, and I hope that you'll make that your voice heard loud and clear. If you would like to ask a question, folks, remember, press 0 to get into the question queue, and press 7 if you'd like to give us your email address so you can get on our email list. I'm going to ask you this question one more time. What do you actually think the Supreme Court will do with President Obama's disastrous health care law? Do you think they'll strike it down completely? Press 1. Strike it down partially? Press 2. Uphold the law completely? Press 3. I'll give you the results here in just a few minutes. Let's go to our next caller, Robert in Bel Air. Hi, Robert.
Yes, Bill. I got a question for you. This pertains more to jobs than the health care.
Right.
I've been unemployed since 2008, and I know quite a few people here in eastern Ohio that are in the same circumstance. Now, if all of us was able to go back to work to where some of the regulations that stop the average American from going to work, they would contribute to the tax base to where such things like the health care could be taken care of. What's your response to that?
Well, you've asked several questions actually in one. You bring up some very, very good points. First of all, the best way to get America going again is to put them back to work. And how do we do that? We've got to create jobs. How do we do that? The first step is to get the federal government off the backs of businesses. 40% of America's businesses are saying that the health care law and the uncertainty and the increase in health care premiums that are resulting, that's the reason why they cannot grow and expand and hire, do research and development, develop new products, start up new businesses. It is a big, big problem. We also have the problem of federal regulations. I have introduced and have sponsored numerous pieces of legislation since you sent me here to reel in the regulatory agencies like the EPA and the Department of the Interior that are costing our economy $1.75 trillion per year. So the way we get America back to work is get the federal government out of the way so that states can get back to work. We can do that. Bring manufacturing back. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a big example. The steel industry. We've seen the disastrous effects of bad federal policy on the steel industry. But we've got an opportunity right now to see the steel industry come back, because there's a lot of steel required in what's happening in eastern and southeastern Ohio with the boom in natural gas and oil around the Marcellus and the Utica Shale. You've got a steel company up in northeastern Ohio, V&M Star, that's pumping out steel like you've never seen. They've hired 350 new people. I've got people from Marietta, Ohio, that are going up there to work. And so how do we get steel manufacturing back? Well, it'll come back already if the administration will stop attacking the very industries that support it. For example, most of you who have been in the steel industry know that steel requires a raw material called manganese ferroalloy. There are two plants that produce manganese ferroalloy in America. One of them is in Marietta, Ohio. One of them is in Latarte, West Virginia. The EPA is about to issue a ruling that will essentially require that those plants put a dome over their facilities to comply with the EPA's onerous clean air standards. Now, we know that they can't put a dome over their facilities, and it makes it economically infeasible. So what those companies have told us is that they will shut down. If they shut down, we then have to go buy that material, if we can get it, from our competitors, countries like China and Korea, Japan, and others. So, and you've also seen the attack on the coal industry, the very industry that is providing 87% of Ohio's energy today. The administration is attacking that industry and trying to shut it down. Over the entire country, you're seeing $300 more per year in utility costs than when President Obama came into office. So we've got a big problem with the onerous regulations of this president and his policies attacking business. And the bottom line is he's making business unprofitable here in America. And he's driving businesses to shut down rather than giving them an opportunity to grow and to thrive and hire more people. So we've got to keep up that fight and continue to press the issue to stop the EPA, to stop the Department of the Interior, to stop the president from regulating through executive order. If you'd like to ask a question, press 0. Get into the question queue, and if you want to send us your email address, we'll get you on our distribution list. Just press 7. Hey, let me give you the answer to our polling question real quick. I asked you what you actually think the Supreme Court will do with President Obama's disastrous health care law. Either strike it down completely, strike it down partially, or uphold the law. Over 60% of you said that you think that the law will be struck down. 22% of you said that you think it'll be struck down completely. So 60% think it'll be struck down partially, 22% think it'll be struck down completely. That's over 82% of you that think the Supreme Court is going to, in some way, either partially or completely, repeal Obamacare, and we're hopeful that that's what happens. We'll find out on Thursday, of course, and like everyone else, we're waiting excitedly to hear the results. Hey, if you'd like to ask a question, press 0 to get into the question queue. Let's go to our next caller, Donna in Rayland. How are you?